Three, two, one. We're live.
Welcome to the third Blood Vessels game. I'm excited to have three of the four Vamps back, James, Sylvester, and Ursula. We will be wrapping up our Stockyards exploration and story. But before we get into all that, I want to give a quick rundown of what Blood Vessels is. Blood Vessels is a narrative game set in Chicago at the turn of the 20th century in the late 1800s. We'll be going through a role-playing scenario in a classic tabletop setting. This game is a chance to show off our world and mechanics and what we're doing with blood vessels. The players will be embodying vampires, which are represented by their images. And our vampires are a combination of unique art traits and game traits. Such game traits will be used when we make rolls in the game. We'd also like to give our audience the option to use the chat function to give suggestions to the players, ask questions about the game, or just go off. Let us know what you think of what's happening. Cool. If you like what you see here, I invite you to come to our Discord, where games similar to this will be run with bot functionality. This is a preview of the kind of stories players will be encountering in our game. But let's get to it. So, last time, for different reasons, the Chicago Stockyards have become a point of interest for all of you. Charlotte Ann Miller, the leader of the Circle, has crystallized all of it when she's asked you to go investigate. The group of you, led by Maud, went to Packingtown, a community of immigrants that sprang up around the factories that employed them, the stockyards. You investigated strange incidents and reports. You crawled through empty offices, avoided security guards, encountered a grisly, gory specter, but revealed that that specter was in fact a young, extremely hungry vampire working for Abner Wells. Abner Wells' name has come up a few times related to a friend's disappearance, a friend's maiming, and we'll touch on those briefly. But the hungry vampire fled for his life, and I believe it was Sylvester and Ursula, or Sylvester and James, that convinced him to reveal where Abner is, what's going on here. He took the group and revealed to them a trap door in the floor, and the group entered. It turned out that Abner Wells had been employing this young vampire to use his powers to protect something below the stockyards, something sinister. And that's where we start with our four vampires, Maud, Ursula, James, and Sylvester, going down these concrete stairs. A soft orange glow ahead. The heat is beginning to become more and more overt, more and more obvious. Maybe you're heading into a boiler room, a furnace. There's huge machines above you, so there must be huge engines below this, right? As we head down, I want to touch on each of these characters and why they're here. Ursula, can you give a brief introduction of your character? Why is she here? What's motivating her to enter the literal belly of a beast?
Hello, I'm Ursula. I have a friend, maybe a little more than a year, Ethel, and she and I had been writing letters back and forth for a long time, and then one day the letters stopped. Um, I'm here looking for her because she's obviously a really, really important person in my life. Um, I might even venture out to say that I love Ethel, and it's really hard to live this eternal vampiric life without.
Excellent. So Ethel is the reason you are now at this darkness. Although it's not dark, it's orange. It's warm. Um, James, as the warmth and the light gets closer and closer, why are you here? Why are you doing this?
Well, with the light reflecting off of my bald head, I am James Brinkerhoff. The reason I am here is because my friend Paul O'Reilly works here at the plant. He worked on the killing floor, on the outflow where he kind of did some cleaning up, and in the killing floor where the animals are slaughtered. He saw a ghost popped out of nowhere, scared the pants off of him and also the fingers off of him as he tripped and fell into a bandsaw. So I want to find out what that is all about and potentially get my revenge because it seems like we have a bad guy to fight.
Cool. Thank you, James. You reach the bottom of the stairs. Ahead of you is pipes and cylinders and metalwork, and it almost looks like intestines of boiler work and heat. Sylvester, seeing all of this, it's not the kind of place, right? You wanted to be a lawyer. You were a lawyer.
That's right. Sylvester Ephraim Blakewell, Esquire, he of the horrible underbite. Yes, for weeks I had terrible dreams, imagining myself in the stockyards, basically being led to the slaughter like an animal. Was it something that may have been caused by Abner? I'm here to find out and get to the bottom of it.
Excellent. And so that is where our four vampires are. But you'll notice Maud hasn't spoken up. Maud won't be playing tonight. In fact, as the three of you look around, Maud has disappeared. She's gone. You know that the stockyards or whatever's inhabiting it is playing tricks on you, on your mind, on your vision. You've seen things, doors have sealed up. You've been in the same room and been invisible to one another. The same sort of strangeness is happening here because in your search for Maud, you notice that the stairs have disappeared. The threshold's gone. There's no more stairs up, no more way out of here. There's just these hot pipes, these extremely warm machinery. Uh, it's all getting hotter. The flames kept inside the boilers are increasing in heat. It feels like something somewhere is powering up, but it's just this nest of metal and snakes. Well, snakes of metal. What are you guys doing? What are the three of you doing? How are you going to get out of this very hot now room?
So previously, when we had entered the stockyards and we were seeing these weird manifestations that weren't actually there. I mean, it was something of a hallucination. Do we feel like this is another instance of that between Maud's disappearance and the stairs? Do we have any chance of like?
Yeah, go ahead and make a willpower or intelligence roll at a 2 difficulty. So the way in Blood Vessels your vampire characters work is that they have these attributes. In the game, the number of attributes you have equal the amount of dice you roll. In this case, is that your willpower?
That was an intelligence roll.
Your intelligence, right. In this case, the intelligence of Sylvester is 4, so he rolled 4 dice. Once the dice are rolled, we look for 5s and 6s. We need at least 1, 5, or 6 for 1 difficulty, but I set this at 2. And there it is, a 6 and a 5. Sylvester's passed. So you're trying to see if this is an illusion, if there's something going on. You do notice that the threshold and the stairs reappear. They reappear in a way that seems like they were hidden in shadow until you looked at it just right, but they're there. You don't see the same thing Sylvester does unless he points it out.
I would, but still no sign of Maud.
Still no sign of Maud. However, you do see the pipes ahead of you shift. All three of you. They move, undulate, like serpents.
I don't think pipes
Um,
usually do that, do they?
No, not often.
That
uh,
was
I kind of want to touch it.
Excellent. Yeah. You reach out, and you can feel the heat coming off of this thing. Uh, you know, inches before your hand even gets close to touching it. It moves like a living thing. It's pulsing like intestines working food through it, like a python swallowing a rat.
Is this building alive?
Would you like to make a willpower check?
I'd much rather do a willpower check than an intellect check. So yes.
Okay, so you get closer to these pipes. You're worried about this building being alive, and this is a realization you make looking at these pipes that wouldn't have occurred to occurred to you in a strange fashion. You realize that the pipes actually should be doing this, that these are hoses, that they're moving this way because they're pulling something from above, from the outflow down here into a room through these pipes, through these undulating hoses, these hot moving snakes. Behind them is something they're connected to. Behind them is the answer to this. But you're going to have to either move through them or do something else. And if you move through them, it's going to require climbing through these scalding hot pipes, these scalding hot hoses.
Um uh Sylvester and James, I know at least one of you has a mutation. Do you both have mutations?
I do, but unfortunately I don't
Yes.
think it would be useful here.
Yes, nor would mine. I have the
I
ability
have
to hypnotize people and convince them to do what I want.
I have a mutation that I used before that allows me to erode non-organic material. And um, it sounds like this actually is non-organic material, although at first I thought it was organic.
I think the one thing I would caution, though, is that whatever these pipes are carrying are probably as hot as the pipes themselves are, and we wouldn't want to spew boiling liquid all over the room here.
And that liquid is probably organic material.
Yeah, that's why I haven't ripped the pipes out the wall already.
Around you, there you can see the boiler flames crackling.
Well,
Any ideas other than just climbing through it?
is there anything else in this area apart from the boiler and the snake pipes?
Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
Oh boy, that's a skill that I have.
It's a 1 difficulty. Also, did any of you bring anything from the previous? I think there was a table leg and some weird fire poker.
I only need lefty and righty.
Excellent. 2 successes. James, what are you looking for exactly? Can you describe like what is the thing you're looking for without telling me what that thing is so I can give you it?
Sure. So if there's something important behind this wreath of pipes that are just pumping gross fluid that we don't know what it is, You'd think that somebody would need to get back there, perhaps, to kind of take care of whatever this MacGuffin is. Is there anything that might be used to part the way, or any indication of a secret route, perhaps?
Excellent. Yeah, you notice that James, where has James worked in basements and stuff? Does he know how these kind of tight spaces work?
He's primarily worked in train stations and such, but he's pretty handy. So
Yeah. You're trying to figure out how the workers get down here, right? How does a blue collar person approach their job of maintaining these things, right? Or like you said, how does the person running this, get to where it's working? And that train of thought leads you, James, to behind one of the furnaces, one of the boilers. Um, there is a sooty trail, like footprints that have walked over themselves 100 times. Um, and you notice it's different from the rest of the floor. And if you suck in your stomach and spread your arms, you might be able to slide past the boiler to what looks like maybe a door behind the pipes.
all right, well, I will alert the others, and I will offer to go in first.
Okay. Ursula, James into the darkness.
Yes, thank you, James. You are such a gentleman.
Yes,
I
and
wouldn't say
after
that.
you.
All right. The three of you slide past the furnaces and come to a small area behind them. There's a door. Um, Door isn't fancy. It's not locked. Easily opens, James, to a circular room, a domed room. You can see those pipes, those undulating pipes are running above the door here. So as you walk under it, you feel the heat of them above you. Inside is this domed room. Below you is a grating, water, maybe intake from the river or the lake, is pumping below this room, below the grate. In the center of the room is another small domed shape, um, almost like a memorial, is the best way to describe it. Except that in the center of this thing, in a chair, is Ethel. She is strapped into a chair. There are wires, electrodes, things tied to her head, to her arms. Um, and there is machinery along the cylinder's sides. And working diligently on this machinery is a man you can only assume to be Abner Wells. He has not noticed you because he is welding. It looks like he's welding on some metal pieces, maybe gears or something. It looks like this whole room is a mechanism.
Abner Wells needs to get away from my lady.
Yeah, can I kind of quietly tap James and sort of point at Abner?
James will nod and kind of crack his knuckles, but in a quiet way.
Pop, pop, pop. James's knuckles go. All right, what are you doing, James? You're going to approach Abner? Sneak up on him?
How far away?
He's a good couple strides. You're going to be moving across the grate and towards the center of this circular room where he's working. So it's not close enough to do it in a few steps. You're going to have to move.
And so since
One,
it's a sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say one other question. Just since we've known that Abner, does this room feel like it's as it appears to be?
Excellent question, Sylvester. How will you test that theory? Just by looking around, or is there anything you want to do? You'll put your foot out on the grate? Or...
Well, I think just looking at first. I don't want to do anything to sabotage James's chance at taking Abner by surprise, if possible.
Okay, go ahead and make an intelligence 2 check.
Okay. something highly.
Whoa! That's what having 4 intelligence does. That's a rare trait. Just like James's 4 strength. Okay, so you deduce, you reach your foot out. You're suspicious of this whole thing, and you're rewarded for your curiosity, your investigation. What looks like a circular grate is in fact more of a cross. It starts here at the door, but there's a thin walkway to this circular dome, and then 3 more walkways from that dome outwards to 3 other doors, probably to more machinery. James was about to step off and plummet straight into the water below.
Obviously, I'd want to catch him. I'm assuming, can I draw
Yeah,
out kind of with my
absolutely.
finger
Yeah.
the path to take to get to where Abner was still standing, I'm assuming?
Yeah, Abner's standing on a smaller circle where this domed thing is, if you can imagine. It's still like a large area in the center, just not the entire floor like it looked like when you entered.
Okay, then yeah, I'll kind of trace the line through the room that I'm hoping James can follow to approach him.
All right, James, you're going to sneak up on this guy? You're going to come...
About how wide is the walkway? I'm sorry.
It's enough to... As Sylvester does this, you realize that maybe your eyes have been playing tricks on you. You know, like you were staring at the grate. Maybe it looked like it was everywhere, but Sylvester's pointing it out, and you can see the walkway now. It's narrow, but it's not too narrow.
And is it still grating or is it solid?
It's still grating.
Okay. So that's going to make a little bit of noise. So I feel like the best offense is a good offense. So I'm just...
Excellent. All right. I kind of imagine you lowering James. Like, is your shoulder out, or are you leading with your head?
Oh yeah, I'm going to shoulder check this guy.
Awesome. Ursula, before James takes off like a semi-truck, what are you doing? You are infuriated that Ethel's plugged into this machine. Abner has not noticed you. You now notice that the grate on the floor isn't entirely there. There's actually, much thinner and a cross section. What are you going to do?
I would really love to go get Ethel out of this. How far away is she from me?
You would have to follow James or go before him. Maybe following him is a better option?
Yeah, I think that's a better option. Let's follow James.
All right. James, you charge forward, shoulder at the ready, and I need you to just make a strength roll, and we're going to see how many successes you get, and that's how much damage will be applied to old Mr. Wells. 2. Excellent. Wow, 5d6. You are strong, James.
Yep.
You slam into Abner. He does not expect any of this. He's caught up in this welding, and he hits the grating hard and tumbles towards the edge. The propane tank rolls, the tank of gas rolls towards the edge with him, and he drops the welding instrument. He's still wearing the mask, but it's knocked askew, and before you is Abner, as he appears here on screen. And he goes, "Wait, what are you doing? You're one of us." Ursula, you reach Ethel. What do you do? I assume you're going to start undoing the diodes and things attached to her.
Yeah, I would like to do that. And honestly, I don't want Abner to stop me. So I think I'm going to use a hunger to use my acid spores to get these things off her as fast as possible.
Ooh.
Since they shouldn't be able to hurt her because she's organic material. So that's my thought here. But also, my intellect is a 1. So
I think that's a very clever workaround. Yeah, see hairs on her arms kind of fry away on these straps, but it is much faster than trying to undo the loops and the belts. However, as these straps on her wrists disappear, her eyes fly open and they glow with a deep red, a familiar red, something that touches on something in your soul, something that replaced your soul, something that replaced you. I don't know. It's
Oh
horrifying. It
no.
feels like home, but it also feels
Oh
like death. The
god.
machine is clicking above you. You can hear the dome spinning. The cylinder also is activating. The door is about to slide closed, either trapping you in here, Ursula, with Ethel, or you can try and step out. What do you want to do?
I would rather be trapped with Ethel than be without her.
Excellent. The door behind you disappears as the cylinder begins to spin slowly on a clockwork rotation. Light disappears, except for the light emitting from the woman in front of you. Her eyes glow. Sylvester, Ursula has just run into this thing. It's activated. She has disappeared. James is standing over the form of Abner Wells threateningly. What are you doing?
I think I'm kind of in shock here, taking a moment to assess, and then I'm gonna basically shout at Abner, "What is this? What are you doing?"
I'm I'm contacting them, the things, the voices in us, what lives in all of us. And I'm talking to them. Just if you, it's just gonna it's gonna use her up, but that's fine. There's more people in the world. There's more of these humans.
And what about Ursula? Now that she's in there, what's going to happen to her?
I've never been in there while it's activated. I wasn't supposed to turn on.
You need to stop this.
James, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna pick him up off the ground, Abner, and kind of hold him by the collar and agree with what Sylvester said in kind of a growling tone. It's like, you better stop this right now.
Excellent. You reach down and you grab him. You feel him. You're sure you feel him. I need you to make an intelligence check at 2 difficulty.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, wow. Okay. You reach down, and there's a moment. There's a moment. You know when you knock something off a desk and you reach down and you catch it just before it hits the ground, and no one's around to see it, but it's the coolest thing in the world? James experiences that with Abner. He lunges down to grab him. Abner's just a little bit to the right. He's doing that thing again. He's messing with your mind with these illusions, and you seize him and yank him up, and he drops the torch once again that he was going for. And as you growl at him, he kind of whimpers. What did you say again?
Uh, it was something like, you had, except since I have perceived that this is an illusion.
Oh no, you got the real one. He was going to use an illusion to get away, but you snatched the real one as he was trying to grab the torch.
I'm sorry, I mean that I noticed that he was trying to use illusion on me.
Yeah.
I would like to use my mutation, which I have not had a chance to use yet, which is provocation, wherein I invoke great anger in my victims. So I will kind of taunt the boss, if you will, and hopefully with my words, calling him a coward for capturing this poor, defenseless woman, get him to be very angry and perhaps throw him off balance.
Yeah, he starts thrashing in your arms, in your hands. What biologically, James? How does this activate? Do spores come out of your skin? What's visceral brain reaction in your victim?
So since James is an apex, which means he's a little more human looking than his brethren in most cases, I think what happens is his eyes just kind of flash a little black, where you wouldn't notice unless you were really looking. But it's something about the sonic qualities of his voice that invokes a psychological change in the victim that just really ignites their anger.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, all the vampires have mutations. Those mutations interact in a weird way. Abner's is he releases a kind of spore that tricks the mind, that makes things look like they're not supposed to be where they are. They are supposed to be where they're not. But you shake him and he begins to thrash and scream and he goes, I don't know how to turn it off. I've never turned it on before. And the door reaches the other side. As it does, Ursula and Ethel are gone. Ursula, you are in a dark room, maybe the internal guts of this machine now, this cylinder. Ethel's eyes are continuing to glow. It's like someone's lit a candle in her skull. Her cheeks are beginning to glow, and you can see her cheekbones and some of her jaw. It's like there's a light in her head, and she begins to speak to you earnestly. And it's a language you recognize, but you recognize in the way that you would an old song. Her head is still connected with these diodes. Her legs are still tied to this thing. What do you want to do?
Oh gosh. I want to try to free her legs and just I don't want her attached to this machine. It's not right.
As you bend down to free her legs with your acidic mutation, she lunges for you. Her hands are like hooks. I need you to make a strength test to avoid hurting her but getting her free.
This is so scary.
One success. Fantastic work. The bonds of her feet burn away. Her hands fly above your hair, snatching, but never quite getting it. And I imagine you stand and wipe, kind of swipe at the wires above the diodes, and they pull away, and her eyes flicker. The red light in her eyes flicker and go out, and the whole chamber begins to turn red. From below, a light. And then that light, that red, moves towards the top of the chamber. And outside, Sylvester and James, you see the top of this thing that Ursula disappeared into is beginning to turn red as well. And there's a light being projected on the brickwork above. And there's a heat coming from it. But Ursula and Ethel still aren't to be seen.
Abner, you'd have 5 seconds to start talking.
Look, you can do whatever you want, okay? It's already happening. I've made a connection. The circuit's complete.
It's supposed to do that?
Haven't you heard the voices in your head, in your body, in your blood, talking to you?
Halfway.
Yes, clearly, no, you have not. Maybe you take a moment to reflect on that. You've never had your body do anything. Your head's never done anything.
Abner, we've never heard anything like that before. We don't know what you're talking about.
The machine begins to make grinding noises as though there's a stuck mechanism somewhere. Ursula, inside of this tight coffin-like area, smoke begins to fill from below, from the grating. It seems like there's a malfunction occurring. Ethel begins to cough.
Oh goodness. Oh, my intellect. Why?
Would you like to make a check? Just try. I'll give it to you. It's a
know,
difficulty
oh.
1.
Isn't there a way that I can actually use my hunger to make sure that I can get a better roll?
Yes, absolutely. You can burn hunger. That is, make yourself more hungry to add more dice to your roll. I believe you've spent 1 or 2 already for the mutation use, so you are getting hungry. And Ethel does smell good. But we'll worry about that later. How many dice are you going to add to your intelligence roll?
I'm going to add 2. I'm gonna get pretty hungry. I'm halfway through my hunger right now. And so that brings my intellect to
3.
up. Oh, and it's good that I did
Excellent.
that. Excellent.
Wow. All right. The room is turning red. The smoke is coming up. If the smoke is coming up, it means it's coming from somewhere. You look for that area where the smoke is billowing from, and you find a vent or something, a handle. You yank. You can hear the mechanisms begin again. Outside, James and Sylvester, the cylinder begins to spin back around. Smoke is beginning to emit from this thing entirely. The red light is becoming more and more intense. Abner is laughing. He's laughing. He goes, "I've made the connection. They hear me. They hear us." The door reappears. Ursula, you can grab Ethel and get out. James, however, I need you to make a dex roll, an agility roll. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
As the door is revealed, the smoke pours out, and Abner uses this chance to break free. He brings his arms down on your arms. You drop him to the ground, and he lands, and he yells, "No, no, we can't turn it off now. It's working." And he sprints towards Ursula and Ethel. Sylvester, what are you doing?
So my mutation is hypnotism that allows me to kind of issue to a target. Can I attempt to use that on Abner?
Yeah, you can give it a shot. Go ahead. Make a social roll.
A social roll, okay.
Excellent. What are you asking him to do? What are you trying to get him to do?
Basically to I'm telling him that he needs to turn off the machine to disconnect the power source.
He stops where he's running and he looks at you and he goes, I can do that. Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, and he charges within. Ursula, what are you doing? Abner's coming running. He's running at you, but he doesn't look like he's focused on you. Or
Yeah. Oh God. So do we know that Abner is like for sure a human?
no, he seems to be a vampire. He's been using illusion, mutation, strangeness on you all night.
I was like, that doesn't make sense for a human.
No, he's running at you and he wants to get into this to turn it off per Sylvester's
Okay.
command.
Let's see. Let's see. I have a 4 agility, so I feel like I could maybe like make sure. Well, I don't. Okay. That Ethel is safe. So I'm jumping with her, like making sure that she doesn't get hurt by Abner.
Okay.
Because if
Go ahead.
I think if I'm hungry, like, and he's doing whatever he's doing, I want to make sure she's safe.
Okay. Make an agility test. 1 difficulty. Oh, there it is. The success.
Okay, good.
You grab Ethel. The two of you escape from this cylinder as he plummets in right behind you. In fact, he brushes against you, almost checks you into the falling down and maybe even falling off the grating. But he enters this thing as it spins closed once again. More and more black smoke pours out of it. The red light becomes more and more intense. It eats up the entirety of the ceiling above the 4 of you. And there's this feeling like a child, like you're a child being looked down on by an adult, by an overwhelming scrutiny, like something is in the room with you, looking at you, looking down. And then it's gone. The light flickers off, the machine grinds to a halt. Inside, you can hear Abner scream sharply once, and then there's nothing. The inside of the machine, it looks like it's burning. James, Sylvester, Ursula, is there anything else you want to do down here?
I feel like now would be a prudent time to vacate the premises.
All right.
I would second that.
Yeah.
The three of you and Ethel to the stairs, up the stairs, out of the slaughterhouse, into Packingtown, and then back into Chicago proper. A night or so later, we meet back up at Charlotte's study for debrief. She listens to your story about the stockyards, about Abner, about what he was doing. She leans forward. She looks concerned. She asks, "What do you think to do?"
I think he was just nutty. There's nothing out there but us.
What was that feeling?
I suppose there was that weird feeling, but
I
feeling?
feel like he was trying to somehow become more powerful, but maybe like a feeling of like he was trying to like rule over us other vampires or something, like, or take our from us or something.
Charlotte leans back in her chair, hearing you, and she leans in when Sylvester says feeling. She goes, "What do you mean feeling? Did you feel? I mean, was it just one of our strange mutations of the blood, or was it something else?"
I don't know what it was, but Abner was clearly messing with things that shouldn't be touched, and it's better that it all ends up in ash.
And perhaps I should follow up with Ares. Thank you three, and Maud. You haven't seen Maud since those events of that night?
I was hoping that you might know where she is.
No, she's been gone. Okay, we'll keep an ear to the ground. Thank you for telling me, and I'm glad, Ursula, you were able to save your friend.
Me too.
And that is the conclusion to our three-part Blood Vessels story leading up to the Blood Vessels launch next Wednesday. Thank you so much again, James, Sylvester, and Ursula. Vampires. Thank you to our tech crew who are running the sound effects and the images and all of the making this all possible.
And thank you, Arbiter, for running the game.
Oh, you guys made it easy. If you enjoyed this, I invite you to please visit our Discord. I'd like to thank anyone listening. If you check out our Discord, which is linked in the description, you'll see that our mint is coming up soon, next Wednesday, October 26th at 12 p.m. PST. We'll be dropping 250 unique vampires with unique vampire traits similar to the ones you saw playing today. You'll be able to use those vampires in gameplay similar to what we did today, where those traits are used to make tests to overcome strange obstacles and objectives. And most importantly, we will be working on a way to, you're going to want to be on the allow list for the sale. So join our Discord for a possible way in on the allow list soon. The sale is the 26th. It is $200 for a vampire or $100 if you're on our allow list. So that's why I invite you to our Discord. There'll be ways to join through there. This is our last. Sylvester and Ursula and Maud have explored the entirety of the adventure, but this may not be the last game. So I will say goodnight, but not goodbye. Thank you again, vampires. Thank you again, everyone, for listening.